at 855-912-1056. So send those in there for the top of the hour. Joe, good morning, sir. How are you doing? You doing all right? Do we have Joe? Is Joe there?
What's up, Big O? Doing well.
There we go. There we go. So what's the grade for Chris Greer and the trade of Bradley Chubb and Jeff Wilson? What's the grade? Because you gave an A to Tua this past week, which that was groundbreaking. That was earth-shattering stuff there that you actually gave Tua an A for his performance. So you tell me what does Chris Greer get for the trade for those two players here at the deadline?
Yeah, I mean, I would say B plus. I mean, you have to take into consideration not just the first rounder that was yielded, but the contract that was given. Bradley Chubb has obviously proven to be a very good player when healthy throughout his career. In much the same way, we're worried about the health of some other players on the Dolphins roster, like Teron Armstead. It's fair to wonder if Chubb will stay healthy and whether or not he'll, eventually live up to the contract terms that puts him in the sphere of the TJ Watts and Joey Bosa's. I have not watched Bradley Chubb every day. Obviously, the Dolphins scouting department has watched every snap that he has ever played in the NFL and college. So I trust that they believe that he's going to make a significant impact in this particular scheme. And I'm certainly excited to watch him starting Sunday.
Yep. No, I'm with you there. There's no doubt. I think Joe, they know their secondary is a little young, right? And you got to obviously get that pass rush going a little bit more to maybe hide those deficiencies, a little bit. X isn't 100% yet, and I don't know if he'll be 100% at any point this season, because I would imagine it's really hard to get healthy from two groin injuries while you've got to play a whole NFL season. I don't know. Maybe he can. Maybe, the treatment and all that stuff, it'll allow him. But I think that's why they had to make this move a little bit, to pick that up, to kind of hide a little bit the back end of the defense.
Yeah, I mean, there haven't been enough sacks. There should be more sacks and more pressures, even without bringing the blitz. Guys like Jalen Phillips and Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer and Emmanuel Ogbah, especially Ogbah, need to step up in terms of delivering sacks and pressures. And Chubb is only going to help that. And so yeah, without Byron Jones, without Nick Needham, maybe you're a little less creative in terms of how often you bring 6, 7, 8 rushers. And maybe now you don't need to do that as much as you did last year with Chubb, who clearly can run around or power through, an offensive tackle on his own.
Yeah, that's what I like about Chubb, that he's very multifaceted, because he can rush the passer. He's good against the run, can do a little drop back, and can also what's it called? Hold the point too on the edge. I like him. He's just a complete player, actually, and supposedly a real leader in the locker room too. I saw where Von Miller was talking about how much that he hated that he was in the division, and one of the things that he respects about Bradley is that he truly loves the game, and so it looks like that's also you're trying to find the right character people in there, and I think there's a lot of good characters in that locker room. And I think that's another thing that they've gone to go get with Connor and with Armstead. And, even Tyreek, while he had some issues in the past, seeing him here now, he has shown good leadership qualities and being a guy that's, obviously always willing to work harder than almost anybody else that's out there.
Yeah, in and around the locker room, that is definitely one thing that I didn't realize in regards to Tyreek Hill. How hard he works in every practice, how engaging he is to his teammates, how he lifts them up and supports them. Not
Did you
just
see? By
Tua.
the way, did you see
Yeah.
his latest? Did you see his latest TikTok?
TikTok. What did he say?
Oh, it's not what he said, my brother. It's what he did. Let's kill the billboard there. Let's show the folks. Do it.
What's up, Mr. Tyreek? I got the best hands on TikTok. Today I will be using syrup and butter. So round one will be syrup, round two will be butter. Just to prove I got the best hands. And if this don't prove I got the best hands, Steve Smith, Shannon Sharp, I will get on my knees and I will.
This is awesome. So now he gets a jugs machine. Now the syrup's kind of sticky. It's not as slippery. But now the butter. Now he's got the butter.
Tyreek should have showed this drill to Chase Edmonds.
Look at that.
Looks greasy to me. I got the best hands on TikTok, man. Make sure y'all go get that gear, man.
It's fun.
What's up, Mr.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. He's highly productive and he's fun. You know, I asked him. I asked him, hey, what do you think about the general manager and coach coming out and saying, Tua's our guy. We're all in on Tua. Trading away all our first-round picks are an indication that, yes, we are all in on Tua. And he's like, man, what you ask me for? He's like, you got the big dogs telling you themselves.
Right.
I love this
guy.
Yeah,
well, you're the one that asked that question, right? You're the one that asked that question, right?
Yeah. I wanted to get his
I was
input
tripping
on the
out
organization support.
Yeah, I was tripping out with that question because, Joe, it's Flo that had doubts. It's the owner that had doubts. It's you that had doubts. Chris Greer and Marvin Allen and Reggie McKenzie never had a doubt. They picked that kid. They picked him before Herbert. Okay? So they believed he was the better quarterback than Herbert, hip or all. And by the way, so do I, because I told you that way before and you were laughing at me. And so overall, that's not for him. They always believed in him. And I actually talked about this a couple of days ago that you can actually thank Tua for Chubb. Because while the owners want to replace him, while the quarterback want to replace him, while a lot of the people in the media didn't believe in him, fans didn't believe in him, they all want to replace him. They all wanted to use the next year's picks to go find another quarterback. Well, you can thank Tua for now showing you that he can play. You can thank Mike McDaniel for putting him in that place. And now the front office can say, let's go use those picks to finish out this team because their window is now, Joe.
The window is now. And I do want to talk in a minute about the theme of the week at Dolphins camp, which shocks me, to be honest. It's like the complete opposite of the Brian Flores era. These guys are being encouraged to use the word Super Bowl in press conferences. Or I should at least say that they're clearly not being discouraged from that. So that's really just incredible that, they're saying the time is now, the window is now, seize the opportunity. Don't shy away from greatness. I mean, my goodness. I mean, this is just, it kind of does scare me a little bit. It does scare me a little bit. It does scare me a little bit because it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't believe in jinxes, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of torn between you can't do it if you don't believe you can do it. I think that's the prevailing notion. But it's also kind of true that the teams that win it all usually don't talk like that. Usually, But wait a minute. You guys brought up Super Bowl. They did not. You guys brought it up. Hey, do you guys now think you're contenders? So they're talking about it because you asked it. They did not come out, and you can go look at all the interviews. At no point did they come out and say, we're Super Bowl contenders. It was you all that brought up the questions. Well, now that you made this move, do you think you're contenders? Do you think you're this? So you put them in a corner, and what are they supposed to say? No, we're cowards. We're not ready to challenge. No, we believe in ourselves. We believe that we can be contenders. And if you're Tua Tagovailoa, you're the quarterback. Well, you're a quarterback. They have the freedom. They have the freedom to do this now where they couldn't do this in the Flores era. Let's be clear. They have the freedom to do this.
The Flores era wouldn't allow you to talk at all, dude. This was like China last year. They were like living in Russia last year.
I know, but listen. What you said is not entirely accurate. Bradley Chubb, question. How does it feel to be in Miami? Response. It feels great. yada, yada, yada. We can get after this playoff run and Super Bowl and accomplish all the goals we go out there to fight for. Bradley Chubb, first comments officially as a Miami Dolphins. How does it feel to be in Miami? Super Bowl.
I get.
I'm not.
Bradley Chubb is barely a Dolphin. I'm talking about Tua
No, but
and
it's
these
the
other
theme
guys.
of the week.
You guys
It's
brought
the
it up to
theme.
them.
It's the
But you brought
theme
it up to
of
them.
the week.
But you brought it up to Tua. You brought it up to McDaniel.
Not
the
me,
media
another reporter,
brought it up.
Yeah,
the media.
but
the media brought it up. McDaniel never came out and talked about that. Neither did Tua. You guys brought it up.
No, we don't know. We don't know.
And Tua's not. If you tell Tua, "Hey, Tua, can you take on a dragon?" He'll go, "Yeah, of course I'll kick a dragon's ass." Because that's who he is. You tell him anything.
No, I disagree with you. So Tua Tagovailoa uses the words Super Bowl, and I think this is okay. I think it's good. I think it's a complete 180 from previous mindsets. Okay. Question. This is a Chris Perkins question, I think. Do you think these acquisitions make you Super Bowl contenders?
Told you.
I can guarantee you, and this is my point, in the Brian Flores era, Tua would have said, I'm only focused on the Bears.
Right.
Now, okay. Now, whether or not Tua said, we're not afraid to talk about Super Bowls here. We're not afraid to talk about the playoffs. Okay, listen, this is not just, Chris Perkins tripped up Tua. Okay, this is a revelation of a mindset shift, which is totally fine. But
Doggy, that mindset's been there all off season. This is a coach that allows you to be who you are.
Right. Now, I want to tell you something important.
You
referenced the Tua haters, okay? According to the official We Are 2-0 account, the receipts list of Tua haters the official list has been released. Have you seen this on social media?
Yeah, it's a writing from some guy that has a page.
Right,
yeah.
But here's it. So listen. So I'm going to name some of the people who are official Tua haters.
Rich Eisen does not belong on that list, by the way.
I'm not on the list. I'm not on. Let's just go through some of these.
You're not on that list?
No, listen.
Oh. Okay.
I am not on the receipts list. Okay, the official list released by the We Are 2-0 account, which I support. Here are some of the people who have said things about Tua that are mean, much meaner than me. Okay, Sean Payton, Adam Archuleta. I'm going through the list. These are people who are mean to Tua. Brian Greasy, Phil Simms, Chris Perkins made the list. Chris Long, Dave Portnoy. He's the Barstool guy, right?
Yeah.
Vince Beagle. That's probably why Vince Beagle isn't here, because remember he was all in on Deshaun Watson. How we forget about that. Peter Schrager, who's the biggest Dolphins fan in the national media.
Really?
Keyshawn Johnson, Joy Taylor, Rex Ryan. So Chris Mortensen. These are all Todd McShay. These are all people. Kyle Van Noy. There's hundreds of people.
I have a problem.
Omar Kelly, Armando, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Dave Hyde, Brian Flores in bold, the biggest Tua hater. Mike Tannenbaum, Chris Sims, Mike Florio, Chan Gailey. Now, I want to say two things. Number one, it is amazing.
Schrager should not be on that list.
It is, I know, because he's a Dolphins fan. He's a Dolphins fan. He's all in on the Dolphins. He has a relationship clearly with the organization. Listen.
He talks about the Dolphins that they're going to be good when they suck, actually.
I know. And I like Peter and I respect him.
I love Peter.
He's emotionally invested.
Yes.
I believe he has stock in the Dolphins leadership. And that's fine. So listen, two things. One, it is amazing how many people publicly have questioned whether Kurt Warner obviously should be on the list. Publicly have questioned whether or not Tua Tagovailoa has the goods to be an elite, premier, upper echelon NFL quarterback. It's shocking, the list, the number of people, former NFL players, NFL executives. These are not just talking heads per se. Okay. And then number two, I just want to officially, for the record, according to the official We Are 2-0 account, Adam Beasley's on the list too. I'm
Oh, he
not on the
should
list.
be.
So
He should
it
be.
appears
You should be on that list too.
now. Listen, now
on
We Are 2-0. We Are 2-0. They follow me on Twitter. Okay, so we're friends. Okay, so I am friends with 2-0. This is official. Okay, and clearly they have read the hundreds of columns that I have written in support of Tua, and the
Have they listened to
thousands
you
of
on this show?
tweets.
Have they listened to you
no,
on this show?
because you tripped me up one time, got one soundbite out of me that everybody points to. Okay, and so that's fine. That's fine. I'm a big boy. I can deal with it. I was watching this Selena Gomez thing on Apple TV, and I thought to myself, this must be what Tua feels like. All these people coming at him, all these people around him, everybody wants to talk to him. Selena Gomez and Tua. It's pretty good. Did you watch it? Selena
No,
Gomez?
I have not. I have not. I have never I have not watched that.
It's like
What
it's one of those documentaries where they track her for like 6 years, and you see how, like, even though it seems like everything's perfect in someone's life because they're famous and they have money and everyone loves them, how, like, behind the scenes you have this, like, these real anxieties, and it's very fascinating. I love that stuff. I love that behind the scenes stuff where they, like, film stuff for like 6 years. They're probably filming a Tua documentary, that they'll release in 6 years. And it would be fascinating. It would be fascinating.
It would be. Yeah. For me, listen, the people I go after are the absolutes. I was talking about that yesterday. Like idiots like Mike Lombardi. Oh, Flores got fired because for a quarterback that can't play. That's it. You're done with me. Now I'm going after your ass. See, I don't mind the people that say, hey, I got to see if Tua can do it. I got to see if Tua can stay healthy. I got no problem with that. The problem I always had is the people that came with absolutes. No, his arm ain't shit. He's too short. He's too lazy. He can't take tough coaching. Those are the people that bothered me because you just took a lazy approach to the whole thing.
Well, there should never be absolutes. There should never be absolutes about how far any quarterback can lead a team in the National Football League when surrounded with good coaching and good players. And the example here is clearly Jared Goff and Mitchell Trubisky. Those guys, and Jimmy Garoppolo, all right, and Trent Dilfer. All these guys who's his friend and personal coach or whatever, right? That is interesting. I never really thought about that. Dilfer, obviously not considered a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, but led a team to a championship. And when they tried to upgrade off of Trent Dilfer, that was a mistake. So I absolutely agree that the guy with the biggest arm isn't necessarily the better player. Not necessarily. Right. I agree with you on that.
Right. That's why when I tell people Tua will be the better quarterback over Herbert, they freak out and they don't understand. Well, I'm not saying physical talent. Tua will never be the physical talent that Herbert is. He ain't the physical talent that Vince Young was. You know what I'm saying? Vince Young had way more talent than Tua, but that doesn't make him a better quarterback. And that's the difference. And that's why people laugh at me all the time when I used to say, this is Montana and Breeze and Tarkenton. It's the same dude. It's just they don't come around a lot. There's only a few of those in every era. But there's always a couple, those smart guys. You're the Greg Maddux. You can't throw like Randy Johnson. I get it, bro. You're not as big and strong as some other pitchers, but you can paint every corner like Picasso, and you can make every batter look foolish because they don't know where the ball is going, even though it's coming at them at 87 miles an hour.
Listen, before the season, I predicted in print that Tua would be in the top 10 in passer rating and yards per attempt and all that sort of stuff. He's obviously number one in the NFL right now. It seems highly logical to suggest that he's going to, if he stays healthy, finish the season in the top 6 in passer rating, QBR, yards per attempt, completion percentage. If the Dolphins make the playoffs and he finishes there, everybody's perspective is going to change. And I'm going to tell you this: that's okay. You have. Great. Then we would have, because we would have far more information. We do, to be fair, have to note that he's only played 5 full games this year. It's only 5 games. Let's see how it goes. It is a small sample size, so let's see. Let's hope it continues.
You got him
by
winning?
the way, it might rain in Chicago on Sunday. Watch for that.
No big deal.
Listen, Tua downplayed weather and rain and cold, but that is something that he's gonna have to work through.
No, you have real coaching now. You're fine. When you have no coaching and you have no weapons and you have no offensive line and you have no running game, it becomes a whole different monster, Joe.
No, the running game is important. They're going to run the football.
Yeah, I think Mostert actually, I love Mostert this week in fantasy.
They're going to run it on Sunday. They're going to run it.
Chicago, I believe Chicago's been allowing either 90 yards or more to running backs lately. Or something like that.
It's 5 yards a carry. It's 5 yards a carry. The Dolphins average 5 yards a carry. Whatever the team rushing over is, go for that. I think the Dolphins need to win this game on the ground. Roquan Smith is out of there. Dolphins need to win this game on the ground. But Mike McDaniel likes to say, "I can't sprinkle fairy dust." And if the ball is wet, he can't sprinkle fairy dust. All right, so it needs to be reverses, end arounds, bubble screens to Tyreek and Jalen. Nothing downfield if it's a wet ball. I don't want to see the wet ball in the air.
Wet ball and all, he's going to slice them apart inside a 35-yard box. You're too worried about
the wet ball
50 yards downfield and 60 yards downfield, and that is not necessary. He is like OJ and Brentwood. He just slices your ass up inside that 35-yard box. And with those two weapons running around and getting open, it's really hard to stop them. I'm not. The weather thing will be less of an issue this year because people will see that Tua's going into the game now with a better line, a better running game, a better coaching staff, better weapons. So he'll be able to fight the elements and the narratives a lot easier. So
I got to run in a minute, but Mike McDaniel had his press conference in Miami Gardens. I'm not there today. When I return, we're going to have to shift the timing of this 11:30 press conference. The 11:30 availability with you, because Mike McDaniel usually talks at 11:30, and if I'm there, I got to talk to him, not you. But Teron Armstead does have an Achilles wear and tear situation, which is not great. He's going to try to play through the Achilles and the toe. And McDaniel said that Bradley Chubb and Jeff Wilson will play more than 0 snaps. So obviously you see a package.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. You got him winning, right?
Someone on Twitter just said it's not raining. You don't know where it's not going to rain. So, yeah, Dolphins win. Listen, all I know is I read an article.
By the way, that's a weatherman that's coming at you. Derek Sibley's actually a legitimate weatherman. He's a real weatherman. Okay.
Chicago. All right. So there you go. He really is a weatherman.
He is. He's a monster Dolphin fan, and he's a weatherman. He's a big fan of ours. WKBT News 8 weekdays, mornings and noons. He's the meteorologist. So there you go, my man. So a meteorologist came back at your ass about the weather. Hard to argue with a meteorologist.
No, they're 100% correct. Just like people who predicted Tua's future. According to a real meteor,
I'm way better than a meteorologist.
It's hard to spell, Miller. It will not rain Sunday in Chicago. Good news for Miami.
There you go. You got it. All right, Joe, go get the coach. I appreciate you, my brother. We'll catch up next week, and be safe in your travels, my friend. All right,
see you, bud.
Thank you, my brother. Follow him on Twitter at Schad Joe, and of course, subscribe to the Palm Beach Post and support Joe and all the other writers there, like Al Habib, Tom D'Angelo. Great work. Those guys, I've known all those guys for many, many years, man. Many years. Well, Tom and Hal, I've been around those guys for well over 20 years. And Joe, pretty close to 20. It's pretty close. I want to say 15, 17 years. Something like that with Joe. Right now, 2% chance of rain in Chicago on Sunday, 16 mile-an-hour winds. See, that's another narrative that will disappear. All the narratives of Tua have disappeared. right? Deep ball, too short, noodle arm, doesn't work hard enough, isn't tough enough, this, that, whatever. All those things have disappeared. The next one now is coming. Well, the weather, this, that. And again, they fall in love and they think that every throw is 75 yards downfield. And it's not. The NFL game is played inside like a 35-yard box. Mahomes, everybody plays inside that box. Every once in a while, there's a guy that gets deep, and then there you go, and that's it. And it becomes a bomb. But people make it sound like every quarterback is throwing 70-yard bombs every other drive, when maybe they might be lucky to throw it once a month. Okay? And in inclement weather and all that kind of stuff, his arm is more than strong enough in that box to do all kinds of damage. So stop. And when you have anticipatory skills, you know how to adjust to all those kind of things. When you don't have anticipatory skills, Ryan Tannehill, you can't adjust to the weather at times. It affects you even more. But quarterbacks like Drew Brees and Brian and Bob Greasy and Joe Montana and Fran Tarkenton, along with Tua Tagovailoa, over the years, Fran Tarkenton lived in bad weather. And he played his whole life in bad weather. It's not... It's this misconception, and Fran Tarkenton wasn't throwing 70-yard bombs all the time. He would find Ahmad Rashad 5, 10, 15, 20 yards downfield, and Rashad would do the rest. Now, did he hit him on bombs sometimes? Of course. It's just that there's this thing, dude, and we just create walls after wall after wall because you don't want to believe that the guy can play. So now, I hope it rains in Chicago. I hope it's not 2%. I hope it's 60% of rain. So Tua goes out there with a wet ball, slices them up, just like OJ and Brentwood, and moves on, and then kills that narrative. And then we need the one in Buffalo, too, and kill that narrative. Because, he couldn't beat Buffalo before, and he did earlier in the season. It's just... It's just like one wall after another, because I don't believe, so I got to put this in front. And I don't believe because I got to put this in front. And I don't believe, and I got to, and then he just keeps knocking one down after another. It's amazing to me. It really is. All right, 2 hours down, one more to go. We're going to start it off, of course, actually a little more than an hour because we have Craig Mish at 1:15. What's it called? We are going to turn to fantasy football now. The great Scott Pianowski is ready to go with our sportsgrill.com fantasy football zone. Get the questions ready. Send them in to our Welt and Rayom text line at 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056 on the Welt and Rayom text line. You can also send them in on the chat board now. They won't disappear. I'll be able to see them. And, of course, also on Twitter at Big O Show. You can send your questions there. We'll see them. We've got the Twitter feed up. So whether you're a weatherman playing fantasy or not, you can send in those questions. Guess who's next? Scott Pianowski, right here on the Big O Radio Show.
This is the Big O Show.